Yeah. I've had many of the similar kind of people coming to me and saying, "Oh, I had this blackout experience, and I was told I was a stream entry." And often they tell me that I was told I was a stream entry, but I didn't believe it. That's one of the things I've heard. Yeah, people say, and of course, if you don't believe it, there's no way you are a stream entry. Absolutely no chance at all. So that shows you already that there is a lot of scope for doubt there. Many of the people who are told they are stream entries, and this is, as you say, very common in the Mahasi system. They are told that they are stream entries. Actually, they don't even believe it themselves. So obviously, this kind of gets very, very dodgy as a consequence. So one of the things that to know whether you are a stream entry or not is that you have very easy access to samadhi if you are a stream entry. Yeah, if you look at the Kosambhya Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 48, it says there that if I cultivate this view that I have, in other words, if I follow this view that I have, in other words, the view of stream entry, it talks about the factors of a stream entry in that sutta, I gain samadhi, I gain stillness of the mind. Yeah, so a person who's a stream entry is someone who has very easy access to samadhi. And it's obvious why that is the case, because if you are a stream entry, you have the full insight into the three characteristics of existence and how those three characteristics apply to the five khandhas. So if you know that, you know exactly where dukkha is. You know what you have to abandon. And because you have seen that dukkha, it's easy for you to abandon it. So entering samadhi is not a big problem. Yeah, as long as you kind of just get to relax a little bit, to get maybe to abandon some of the weariness of the mind because you're working too hard or whatever, you are back to samadhi like that. So this is one of the ways that you can know fairly quickly whether you are a stream entry or not. The other thing to remind people of is that these things are extremely profound things, and they are things that normally happen. It always happened after samadhi. This is the other thing you can test them on. Did you have a real samadhi experience? You look at some of the typical suttas that talk about the dependent liberation. It is always samadhi is the upanisa for yatabhuta jnanadasana. So what does that mean? Samadhi is the upanisa. It means that samadhi is like the fundamental root support that you require to see things according to reality. What does seeing things according to reality mean? Well, certainly stream entry is seeing things according to reality. So for stream entry, you need that samadhi. What does samadhi mean in this context? Well, sometimes it says samma samadhi in those contexts. Sometimes it says samadhi, but the main usage of the word samadhi in the suttas is always jhana. Yeah? So if it says samadhi without being further qualified, you can assume that the main meaning actually is jhana. So you should have a deep samadhi before you become a stream entry. Ideally, most people would have to have a jhana experience first. Then the stream entry happens as a consequence. So you can ask them about that. Yeah, and so otherwise, you just I guess you have to. I think these are some of the areas that are easy to measure, because if you talk about the idea of non-self or whatever, it's kind of very, very easy to delude yourself that you have an experience of non-self. And of course, everyone has had maybe some experience of non-self, but the real, it's very hard to judge how deep it can go before you actually get there. And this is why it is so difficult to judge these things without having some kind of more indirect way of